Good morning to all and welcome to the session, the Hindu Editorial Analysis for Proficiency in English. Before we go to the actual session, let us have a look at today's quote. What is today's quote? It takes dedication and hard work to constantly improve yourself. Two things are required to constantly improve yourself. One is dedication and the other one, hard work. In fact, there is another saying, improvisation is the name of the game. That means what? We have to improve constantly. And for that, two things are required. One is dedication, and the other one, hard work. A very useful quote, especially while preparing for competitive exams. Now, let us go to the editorial. This editorial is all about cryptocurrencies. The editorial takes a particular stand. What is the stand taken by the editorial? The editorial says regulation is important, ban is not required. It takes a stand. It says we should not ban cryptocurrencies, we have to regulate. Based on that stand, keeping that stand to justify that stand, it provides the recent information, the recent happenings related to cryptocurrency, the stand taken by the government, what the government has been doing for the last 2 or 3 years, and it also provides information regarding the public response. The first part of the editorial. The second part talks about what is happening around the world, how other countries are dealing with cryptocurrencies, and at the fag end of the editorial, it reiterates the stand. What is that stand? It should not be banned, it should be regulated. There are some important words, and before we go to the words, do remember any editorial related to Indian economy, related to financial matters, very important. And cryptocurrency, an important editorial, an important article. You should know something about, not something, rather all about cryptocurrency. You may get this in prelims or mains as a passage, no second thoughts about that. And also at the time of the interview, they may ask questions related to cryptocurrency and group discussion also. They may give this topic whether cryptocurrency good, not good. So an important editorial, but here only a little information is provided. Try to gather more information about cryptocurrency, an important topic. Let's have a look at the words that go with this editorial. First one, regulate. A regulation, noun. A regulate, verb. What does it mean? Control. Something, especially a business activity, by means of rules and regulations. That meaning goes with the context. Regulate cryptocurrencies. Virtual. You all know the word virtual. Today, virtual games are very popular, not physically existing as such, but made by software to appear to do so. Virtual world, virtual games, virtual currency. The editorial is all about cryptocurrency. It is not real in the sense it does not exist physically. It is a virtual currency. Proscribe, another important word. Prescribe is different. Proscribe is different. Proscribe means forbid, especially by law. Forbid means to prohibit. And laundering, generally we use money laundering. Money laundering or laundering, one word, one meaning, laundering, that goes with clothes, washing, ironing, that is different. But here laundering means conceal. Conceal means to hide. Conceal the origins of money obtained illegally, typically by transfers involving foreign banks or legitimate businesses. They try to hide the origins of money, and they try to transfer money involving foreign banks or legitimate businesses, an important term. In fact, this also, money laundering, you may get as a passage that itself is a separate topic. Ostensible, an important word we have got for the first time. Appearing or claiming to be one thing when it is really something else. Something claims to be something, but in reality it is not the same, it is something else. An important word, it goes with effective English. Disquiet, a feeling of worry or unease. And you all know the word quiet, but here the word is disquiet. Disquiet, someone has information regarding money laundering. Disquiet, a feeling of worry or unease. Notwithstanding, this is an important expression. It goes with continuity while writing an essay, descriptive paper. What does it mean? In spite of, an important expression. You all know in spite of, despite, but here notwithstanding. Exponential usually goes with growth. We have got many a time. Exponential growth. Exponential means increase, becoming more and more rapidly. Peg has got many meanings. Usually, it goes with at home we use pegs to hold something, and it is also a wooden thing with hooks onto which you hang your clothes. But peg as a verb, as a noun, it has a different meaning altogether. It goes with everyday English. As a verb, an arrangement that fixes a price, currency at a particular level. In this context, it goes with cryptocurrency. Upsurge, we have got the word surge many a time, especially against the backdrop of COVID 19, the number of cases. Upsurge, same meaning more or less, a sudden and usually large increase in something. Surge, a sudden forward movement, one meaning, and sudden increase, another meaning. Upsurge also means a sudden and usually large increase in something. Assertion, assert, assertion. Assert is a verb, assertion noun form. A statement that you strongly believe is true. You make a statement and you strongly believe some statement is true. Accentuated, an important word. And what does it mean? Make more noticeable or prominent. Accentuate something means make something look prominent. Embrace, we have got many a time. Accept a belief, theory, or change willingly and enthusiastically. And a foul, we have got for the first time. We all know the word foul, foul game, foul language, but a foul in or into a state of difficulty, confusion, or conflict with. In this context, in conflict with, and eschew, another important word, deliberately avoid using something. When you deliberately avoid something, we use words like abstain, refrain, abstain from, and we have to remember the prepositional combination. Expedite, we have got many a time. Expedite means what? To speed up, make an action or process happen sooner or be accomplished more quickly. Many words are important here, and do remember when you write an essay, there is a possibility to they may ask you to write about cryptocurrency, one thing, or group discussion. They may ask you to talk about cryptocurrency. At the time of the interview, they may ask you to express your views on cryptocurrency. So you have to have the basic information, one thing at the outset, and on the other hand, on the one hand, basics you got to have at your fingertips. On the other hand, you have to use the exact lexical terms and the right word combination so that you make the right impact. Now let us go to the editorial. A regulation, not ban. A regulation, this is a noun form, a regulate verb. What is the meaning of the word regulate in this context? Control something, especially a business activity, by means of rules and regulations. Again, the word regulations, rules and regulations you try to control, then we use word regulate. So the main idea, these two words you can easily make out what exactly the editorial wants to convey and what exactly the stand it has taken. We should regulate, not ban. Regulation should be there, not ban. Ban means what? Prohibit, completely prohibit. So based on the same stand, what is the main idea of the editorial? India should regulate trading. Regulate what? You ask the question. India subject should helping verb. After this, I'll talk about this. Let me complete the sentence. India should regulate trading of virtual currencies through monitored exchanges. So, in a way, it provides a solution. It takes a stand. What is a stand? We should not ban cryptocurrency or virtual currencies, but we have to regulate. How to regulate virtual currencies? India should regulate trading of virtual currencies through monitored exchanges. We need exchanges, and these exchanges should be monitored. And through monitored exchanges, we should regulate or make it happen. Now, let us go to grammar part. India is a subject, and there is one helping verb should. This is important from the exam point of view. First, you have to know the meaning of the helping verb should. It has got two different meanings. One meaning, it is used to advise or suggest someone. Advise general, suggest specific. Second meaning, it is used to express a possibility, but the chances are less. And another reason why you got to focus on this and what is there to recollect and consolidate, should is a helping verb. Whenever you have to use a verb after a helping verb, that verb should be in the basic form without to. For that, we use the expression that is known as bare infinitive. In so many competitive exams, they've given questions related to bare infinitive. And what is a rule you have to recollect and consolidate over here? Should is a helping verb. After any helping verb, if at all you have to use a verb, that verb should be in the basic form without to. For that, we call it bare infinitive. So India should regulate, ask the question what? We have to regulate something. Trading. Trading is a noun. Regulate what? Trading object of virtual currencies. That is a phrase. How? Then you ask the question, how should it regulate? How should India regulate? Through monitored exchanges. Through monitored exchanges. Crystal clear. And what exactly the editorial wants to convey, the main idea is here. But whenever a particular editorial or a particular writer makes a statement, the writer, he or she, or the editorial tries to justify. Justify means on what basis it says it has to regulate, it should not ban. For that, they have to provide information, background information, current information, and they have to touch the solutions of the future. Now, let us look at the editorial provides a background information and what the government has been doing for the last couple of years regarding virtual currencies. 8 years after the RBI issued its first advisory cautioning holders of virtual currencies about the potential financial and security risks, and 2 years after drafting a bill to ban cryptocurrencies, the government is set to introduce legislation that would, if passed, officially proscribe such currencies. Entire thing is one sentence, looks like a paragraph, but I want you guys to focus on where is the subject. The government is set to introduce legislation. That is the main idea of this sentence. But before that, there are a few expressions, phrases, and clauses, and these add information, background information. That's what the writers do. 8 years after the RBI issued its first advisory cautioning holders of virtual currencies, virtual means not physically existing, about the potential financial and security risks, potential likely to happen, and financial and security risks. 8 years after that caution, warning, and 2 years after drafting a bill to ban cryptocurrencies. This is all background information. 8 years after cautioning the holders of virtual currencies, and 2 years after drafting a bill to ban cryptocurrencies. So 8 years, 2 years, it's like the background information. Now coming to the present, it talks about the present. The government is set to introduce, this is in present tense. The government is set to means all set to do something. Ready to do, what is a phrasal verb here? Set to go somewhere, set to launch, set to introduce means ready to do something. The government is set to introduce, again, you ask the question, introduce what? Legislation that would, if passed, officially proscribe such currencies. There is one important word over here. Proscribe means forbid, especially by law. Forbid means to prohibit, ban. And here there is something very important. I have been telling you guys, whenever you come across the word if, not only here in the exam also, become alert and think of conditional sentences. Here you see, if the government is set to introduce legislation that would, it is in the past. If past, this is also in the past. If past, something would become something. That means what? It is a conditional sentence, and here the main clause we have would in place of will, and we have past tense in place of present tense. That means which conditional? It is hypothetical conditional. That you have to recollect. And when you recollect a particular conditional, obviously you have to recollect other conditionals so that you can consolidate your grammar knowledge. So it is nothing but this sentence, a lengthy sentence which looks like a paragraph. It provides a background information 8 years after cautioning one thing, and 2 years after drafting a bill to ban cryptocurrencies. The present government is all set to introduce legislation that would, if passed, officially proscribe such currencies. Means what? If this particular legislation passed, it would it would forbid such currencies officially. That means we cannot deal with those currencies. It's concerns an important word. What is the reason? Common error, exam point of view, it is important. A lot of people say when they go to someone's office, I would like to meet the concerned person, not correct. I would like to meet the person concerned. That you have to recollect. Its concerns appear to be the risks. Something appears to be. This pattern is important. Its concerns, here the subject is plural, so appear. Singular, it appears to be. The concern appears to be. The risks, now it talks about the reasons behind banning and not regulating. And it touches two different aspects. And let us see what are those aspects. Its concerns appear to be the risks associated with cryptocurrencies. The first concern, the major concern, it is risky because it is virtual currency and it does not belong to any country. Its concerns appear to be the risks associated with cryptocurrencies, justified, including their potential use for money laundering. One is risk. If you invest in cryptocurrency or virtual currency, there's a risk factor is there. Second thing, including the potential use for money laundering and financing of illegal activities. This is very dangerous. One is the individual risk or the company's risk investing in cryptocurrencies or virtual currencies. The second and the most important, including the potential use for money laundering, conceal the origins of money obtained illegally, typically by transfers involving foreign banks or legitimate businesses, and financing of illegal activities. That is also very dangerous for the country. Then the risks investors and consumers face in dealing with those or these so-called currencies, given that they are neither a store of value nor are they a medium of exchange, and the ostensible threat they pose to financial stability are also key factors. So first he talks about the risk, then he talks about the possibility of money laundering and financing of illegal activities. After that, he talks about another dimension, the risks investors and consumers face. Here the verb is in present. The risks they face in dealing with these so-called currencies. So-called, that's an important expression. So-called currencies, not currencies in the real sense. So-called currencies, given that they are neither a store of value, neither nor very important, you all know how to use, neither a store of value nor are they a medium of exchange. And the ostensible, an important word, means what? Appearing or claiming to be one thing when it is really something else. So it is not something what it claims to be, but it is something else. Threat they pose to financial stability. Virtual currencies pose a threat to financial stability, and these are also key factors. Here, the editorial talks about certain factors and the reason behind banning, not regulating, and added to that other factors. First one is about the government point of view, the country point of view, and the second sentence talks about the investor's point of view, consumer's point of view, and eventually it may pose a threat to financial stability. These are all the key factors. Now it provides what exactly the stand taken by the government and the statement given by the Prime Minister. Prime Minister Narendra Modi had in a video address to the Sydney dialogue earlier this month said, Prime Minister Narendra Modi, that is the subject, had, after that you have a phrase, in a video address to the Sydney dialogue earlier this month said. So what is the sentence over here? Prime ministers had said, that is in past perfect, that you have to focus on, but in between the helping verb and the main verb, you have a phrase. In a video address, one phrase to the Sydney dialogue earlier this month. So you have to be very careful when they separate the verb, in between they use a few phrases. So what had he said? It is important that all democratic nations work together on this, that is cryptocurrency, and ensure it does not end up in wrong hands. So it is like cautioning, warning, and telling the country's democratic nations to be cautious. So it is important that all democratic nations work together on this, that is cryptocurrency, and make sure it does not end up in wrong hands. An important expression, end up in, that's an important phrase. It ends up in something, it should not end up in something. And make sure it does not end up in wrong hands. If these virtual currencies or cryptocurrencies go into the hands of, or eventually end up in wrong hands, that is very dangerous for the country, or any country for that matter. Now it talks about what the center has been doing. The center and the RBI's deep disquiet with cryptocurrencies notwithstanding. Now, if you look at 8 years and 2 years, that particular statement, it shows that the center has been worried. There's one important word, disquiet, a feeling of worry or unease regarding virtual currencies. The center and the RBI's deep disquiet means feeling of worry with cryptocurrencies notwithstanding. This is an important word. Notwithstanding means in spite of. So, what does it mean? In spite of the worry, the feeling of worry that the center has and the RBI has, in spite of that, there has been an exponential jump. There's one important word over here, exponential means what? Becoming more and more rapid, to grow suddenly and quickly. Then we use exponential growth, but here they have used the combination. There has been, in spite of the worry, the feeling of worry that the center has, the RBI has, there has been an exponential jump in investment in virtual currencies. On the one hand, the center is worried, RBI is worried. On the other hand, there's a jump. It's a paradoxical situation. There has been an exponential jump in investment in virtual currencies, especially after there's a trigger point for this, especially after the Supreme Court last year struck down an RBI notification barring financial entities from facilitating customer transactions related to virtual currencies. This is again paradoxical in the sense last year the Supreme Court struck down an RBI notification. What is this RBI notification? Barring means prohibiting. It barred financial entities. Entity means organizations, companies, sometimes individuals, barring financial entities from facilitating customer transactions related to virtual currencies. RBI wanted to bar financial entities from facilitating customer transactions related to virtual currencies. But the Supreme Court last year struck down that particular notification. That means what? The meaning I have already given. Disquiet means a feeling of worry or unease. And based on that, perhaps there has been an exponential jump in investment. Now it talks about what is the industry estimates. Industry estimates now peg. There's an important word. Peg actually goes with bar means prohibit, prohibiting. I have already given the meaning for every word. I have been given the meaning. Please listen very carefully. If I don't give, then you ask. But already I have given the meaning, and no point in asking. So here I have said that, and it is there also. Peg means an arrangement that fixes a price, currency at a particular level, one meaning in this context. And everyday English, it is something we use, a wooden thing to use to fix a cloth or something. But it does not go with this context. Industry estimates now peg cryptocurrency, means place cryptocurrency or fixed cryptocurrency holdings in India at about 40,000 crore, held by about 15 million investors, and advertising trends show an upsurge in ads promoting brands associated with investment in virtual currencies. This talks about the present situation, the present scenario based on, though the center is worried, the RBI is worried, they have their own concerns. Disquiet means a feeling of worry. There has been exponential growth when it comes to investment in cryptocurrencies. And based on that, industry estimates now peg means assess or place or fix cryptocurrency holdings in India at about 40,000 crore, and not only that, held by about hold past held 15 million investors. There are 15 million investors they have invested in cryptocurrency. And not only that, added to that, advertising trends show an upsurge, an important word. Surge, a sudden forward movement, a sudden increase. Upsurge, in a way, same meaning, a sudden and usually large increase in something. Upsurge in also promoting brands means that companies associated with investment in virtual currencies. Now, people started investing in virtual currencies. Obviously, some companies come up and they try to help the customers or consumers or investors how to go about when it comes to cryptocurrencies. This is all about the first part of the editorial. Now, the second part of the editorial talks about what is happening around the world and what are the stands taken by different countries. That the ground has shifted since an interministerial committee set up to study the issues related to virtual currencies first proposed the ban in 2019 is beyond doubt. Here, that the ground has shifted is beyond doubt. That is the main idea. That the fact that the ground has shifted is beyond doubt. But here you have so many words in between. The ground has shifted. Since when? You ask the question. Since an interministerial committee set up to study the issues related to virtual currencies first proposed the ban in 2019, since then the ground has shifted and there's no doubt regarding that. Is beyond doubt. This is an important expression. It is beyond doubt means what? There's no doubt. And how to justify that statement? It talks about what is happening around the world. From the emphatic assertion, emphasize means to stress something. Assertion, a statement that you strongly believe is true. From the emphatic assertion in that panel's report that no country across the world treats virtual currencies as legal tender. Those the committee, the panel's report took a stand. What is that? No country across the world treats virtual currencies as legal tender. That means they should not treat virtual currencies as legal tender. From that situation to a situation where earlier this year El Salvador, admittedly a small and heavily indebted nation, officially declared Bitcoin as legal tender. The panel said no country across the world treats virtual currencies as legal tender, but on the contrary, a situation has come where earlier this year, El Salvador, a country, a small and heavily indebted nation means it is in debts, officially declared Bitcoin as legal tender. Much has changed in the adoption of private virtual currencies worldwide. From that situation to the present situation where El Salvador declared it a legal tender, a lot has changed, much has changed in the adoption of private virtual currencies worldwide. What are those changes? Much has changed. The pandemic has accentuated an important word. Means what? Make more noticeable or prominent. Accentuate means make something look more important or prominent. The pandemic has accentuated the global embrace of all things digital. Here it talks about the impact of the pandemic. Because of the pandemic lockdown, people resorted to digital transactions. You all know that. And the pandemic has accentuated the global embrace. Embrace means accept a belief, a theory, a policy, something willingly and enthusiastically. You accept and you try to do that. Embrace of all things digital and investment in the technologies enabling cryptocurrencies, including blockchain, appear to be no different. Pandemic, because of the pandemic, people resorted to all things digital, and investment in the technologies enabling cryptocurrencies, including blockchain, appear to be no different. So, involvement or investment in cryptocurrencies, no different. Now it talks about different countries. Canada, Japan, and Thailand permit the use of virtual currencies as a payment method, with some jurisdictions regulating them as a digital asset and others as a commodity. So they have taken a different stand. What are these countries? Canada, Japan, and Thailand permit the use of virtual currencies as a payment method. Usually, we don't use virtual currencies as a payment method, but in these countries, it is allowed with some jurisdictions, means legal restrictions, regulating them as a digital asset and others as a commodity. One is digital asset, means virtual, the other as a commodity. Canada and the US closely monitor, means observe, virtual currency activity to ensure they do not run afoul of laws on financial crimes, with the former also earning tax revenue on transactions. There's one important word over here. Afoul means what? In or into a state of difficulty, confusion, or conflict. In this context, in conflict with, afoul of laws on financial crimes, laws on financial crimes, in conflict with laws on financial crimes. On financial crimes, a phrase. In conflict with the laws. That's how you have to look at it. With the former, that means this particular cryptocurrency also earning tax revenue on transactions. Now, how does the editorial end? It reiterates the stand taken by the editorial. That means, what is the stand taken by the editorial? We should not ban, the editorial says, cryptocurrencies or virtual currencies should not be banned, they should be regulated. All things given, India should eschew. This is an important word. Eschew means, in this context, not confusion. In this context, in conflict with. That's what I have said. Eschew, deliberately avoid using, abstain, or refrain. India should eschew the temptation to join China in proscribing virtual currencies and instead aim to tightly regulate their trading through monitored exchanges and earn revenue. The previous sentence talks about earning tax revenue on transactions. So there's a source of income for the government. Based on that, the editorial says all things given, that means considering the risks, India should, it is like advise, eschew, refrain from the temptation to join China in proscribing. Proscribe means what? Prohibit virtual currencies and instead aim to tightly regulate the same thing. Regulation, not ban. They're trading, but how to regulate? Through monitored exchanges and earn revenue. They have to regulate through monitored exchanges. At the same time, they have to earn revenue based on the tax on transactions. Simultaneously, it should expedite, another important word, but we have got many a time. Speed up. The RBI's pilot. Pilot has got two different meanings. One meaning you all know, aeroplane or chopper pilot, one who flies. But pilot project means experiment, to experiment something. Pilot of the central bank digital currency so as to offer an alternative to cryptocurrencies. So it says that it has to speed up the alternative. What is the alternative? RBI's pilot of the central bank digital currency, and in a way it offers an alternative to cryptocurrencies. So this is an important editorial. You have to read twice, thrice, and you should not stop here. You have to get more information about cryptocurrencies. It is the most happening thing around the world, and it is in the limelight. Definitely likely to get as a passage in prelims or mains, group discussion, interview. They will definitely touch this topic. Don't take things for granted. Do remember, you got to get information related to. And as a prospective banker, also, you have to know all about cryptocurrencies. There's no choice. It is like Hobson's choice. Let us look at effective English. What is there to learn? Should regulate. There are two things you have to recollect. One, the functions of the helping verb should, advise or suggest, possibility, less chances. And also, after any helping verb, we have to use a verb. That verb should be in bare infinitive. Set to, a phrasal verb. All set to launch the business, ready to, set to introduce, ready to introduce. Its concerns. Concerns, again, its possessive pronoun, you have to recollect the rule. Possessive pronouns never take an apostrophe to express possession. And common error, letter writing, people close. Yours truly, that is not correct. You should not use an apostrophe when it comes to possessive pronouns. And when it comes to the descriptive paper, letter writing, if you make this mistake, you're going to lose 2 marks. associated with someone or with something. In dealing with a person, in dealing with, please don't use any regional language. Who is this? Please, it's a request. Only English. Don't use any regional language. It's only a request. Don't feel bad about that. In dealing with a person or in dealing with a particular thing or a situation. Given that, this is important. Given that means looking at the existing situation, given that something, threat they pose a threat. That is an important expression. And you have to focus on the prepositional combination pose to, threat to. It is important that, it is interesting that, it is easy, it is difficult. So this pattern you have to catch. It is important that you consider something. It is important that you go there. End up in wrong hands. End up, this is an important expression, end up in wrong hands, end up in failure, end up in success, whatever it is. Exponential jump, but generally we say exponential growth. Remember that expression. Peg at, it takes a preposition at, place at, assess at, fix at. Here it is a verb. Held by, hold, held by, and hold something. It goes with investors. Held by cryptocurrencies or virtual currencies held by 15 million investors. So, that's very good. Thank you very much, Ravitej. I appreciate your spirit. That's really good. Nice of you. Is beyond doubt. Beyond doubt means you don't doubt that. And there is no doubt, we also say. Something is beyond doubt means no doubt regarding that. Indebted nation, an important expression, but generally when you use the word DEBT, remember the letter B is silent. Indebted nation, debt, not debt. Embrace of something. Embrace means to accept something willingly and with a lot of enthusiasm. Usually it goes with a new idea, a new policy, a new currency. In this context, virtual currencies appear to be no different. Another important expression, it appears to be no different means it is not different, it is the same old thing. Run afoul of. In this context, it has three different meanings, but in this context, it means in conflict with, run afoul of loss related to financial crimes. But in this context, what does it mean? In conflict with the laws that deal with financial crimes. Temptation to do something, temptation to go somewhere, you have to remember the pattern. Coming to comprehension, I don't know how many of you are writing the answers, but I strongly recommend please write the answers. Now the exam mains, after prelims mains, you have descriptive paper. At this stage also, if you don't write the answers for these questions, I don't think that's a good thing because writing is not something you can get overnight. Writing is an active skill. There are two problems over here. One, English is not our mother tongue. Second, we are not writers. Both are something like difficult to achieve, and each one is an uphill task. And how to overcome, you have to, and always remember descriptive paper makes or breaks your selection. Mains, the descriptive paper is very important. It makes or breaks your selection. Keeping that in mind, you should write about editorials. You should write the answers. That's very good, Yashashvi. I appreciate. That helps in the long run. And when you write something, you will be able to remember for a long time. Imagine you have written about cryptocurrency. You gather information from this editorial and Google. Then you write in your own sentences, important words using lexical terms. Imagine they give the same topic group discussion. Already you have written, you can participate confidently and with a lot of enthusiasm. Interview, they ask questions about cryptocurrency. Already you have written, you have the information at your fingertips. Once you write, you can remember. Then you can answer confidently and effortlessly. Based on the editorial, you can write the pros and cons of cryptocurrencies, the pros and cons of virtual currencies. You can name that way. The advantages and disadvantages of virtual currencies, or the risks involved, the risks that go with virtual currencies. Anything positive and negative. What is this editorial about? Very important, you got to write. In the context of the editorial, what are the concerns of the government? The editorial talks about the editorial uses two sentences. In two sentences, one sentence talks about the concerns related to the government and the RBI. The other one, the risks that go with the investors and the consumers. Why has there been an exponential jump in investment in virtual currencies? The editorial provides the Supreme Court struck down something that you have to write about that. In the context of the editorial, what is beyond doubt? Something is beyond doubt in the context of the editorial. What is it? And which countries permit the use of virtual currencies as a payment method? Sooner or later, it may happen in some other countries, some more countries, but India has is going to ban, so it is not going to happen in our country. And an important editorial. Now let us go to practice questions based on exam topics. Exactly, pros and cons of virtual currencies, an important topic. 5 years down the line, remember artificial intelligence, automation, cryptocurrencies, or virtual currencies. 5 years down the line, these are going to be in the limelight. They will touch in different competitive exams. They will ask questions, especially the banking sector, group discussion, interview. They will ask questions related to these topics: artificial intelligence, automation, and cryptocurrencies. Very important. Please try to spot the error. Sentence number one, error location, 5 questions. So, where is having run out of cash and the stock of rice fastly draining, the family could take only measured halts. There is no word like fastly. You have already learned only fast. And fast can be an adjective, it can be an adverb. It's a fast train, then it's an adjective. The train went fast, adverb. There is no word like fastly. Usually we add ly to an adjective to change it to adverb, but English has rules, English has exceptions. Always recollect and remember. A lengthy sentence, but should not be a problem to spot the error. Where is the error? The Bureau of Police Research and Development, BPRD, has published a step by step guide for law enforcement agencies to identify fake news and videos intended to spread panic through hatred and communal violence at the wake of the COVID 19 pandemic. He is a fast runner, he runs very fast. Very good. Question number two, very good, Yashashvi, Sai, Arvind. I appreciate you guys. Here, a lengthy sentence looks like a paragraph. At the wake of the COVID 19 pandemic, not correct. In the wake of, this is a standard expression, standard phrase. In the wake of, in the wake of, that is a standard expression. Please go to question number three. Dismissing rumors, Union Home Minister Amit Shah issued a statement on Saturday that he was healthy and not suffering with any ailment. No, no, Satish, it is in the wake of. How do you know these expressions? When you read the newspaper regularly, you are exposed to all these expressions. And yes, that's right. Here there is a verb, suffer. Suffering with is not correct. Suffering from. Suffer from. An easy one. I'm sure many students they can answer something like that. Something is really interesting. At a time when thousands of workers are returning to Bihar daily, more than 70 migrants on Saturday have fled from a quarantine center in Nawada district of Bihar, citing poor facilities and lack of food and drinking water. Question number 4, no one has answered. Here, on Saturday, that goes into the past, then we cannot use present perfect tense. Present perfect plus independent time, time in past, a wrong combination. No, no, there is an error. Please look at it very carefully. Present perfect plus time in past, wrong combination. 70 migrants on Saturday have fled. No, it should be in past. Past tense. Here we have to use past tense. A lot of people say, I have seen him yesterday. Wrong. I saw him yesterday. Correct. Don't use a present perfect plus time in past. That's a wrong combination. That's an easy one. We have got many a time. I have already many a time. Present perfect plus independent time in past not correct. Even after more than 6 weeks of national lockdown, there is no sign of any flattening of the curve, but instead the number of new novel coronavirus cases reported each day continue to increase. Where is the error? Question number 5. The number. There are two phrases. The number already have got many a time. You have to use a singular verb. A number, you have to use plural verb. Here, the number of new novel coronavirus cases reported each day, that is a phrase, put it in brackets. The number continue is not correct. The number continues to increase. Nothing wrong with, there's no sign of any flattening of the curve, but instead, the number of continues to increase. No problem. Please work on the para jumble. When you work on the para jumble, do remember to focus on punctuation. Sometimes punctuation gives you an idea how to go about. 1D. Very good. Who is this? Sahara Muhammad. Wonderful. No, I'm sorry, that is not the first one. No, 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 no. That is not the first one. One is not D. That's why I said, please focus on punctuation. Lower skilled workers in parts of Britain, C is the first one, appear at greater risk of dying from coronavirus than white collar employees. There's a comma here. According to an analysis of official figures published on Monday. So it is CAD. C is the first one. Tammi Naidu. He is a one to get it right. Very good. Sai Arvind also. That's wonderful. Here, there is a comma. Then you cannot say, according to an analysis of official figures published on Monday, lower skilled workers in parts of Britain appear at greater risk of dying from coronavirus than white collar employees. Comma cannot be there. Based on that, it should be CAD. After that, what? The finding. This talks about some analysis published. Based on that, the finding, the definite article, the finding by the Office for National Statistics came after Prime Minister Boris Johnson said on Sunday that construction and manufacturing workers could return to work, but recommended office staff still work from home. CAD one group and BFE another group. Looks like you guys went off the track. Who is this? Sahira Muhammad got it right. CAD one group, BFE. After that, Yashashvi also. Now let us go to idioms. One slide you see 5 idioms. You have to, a bag of bones, you have to match 2 columns. One column, the idiom, the other column, the meaning. He is turning into a bag of bones. So what does it mean? You have to choose A, B, C, D, E, one of these. He is turning into a bag of bones. What is the meaning of the idiom bag of bones? Extremely thin person. Very good. Answer is C. He is always full of beans when he goes to work. He is always full of beans when he goes to work. To be active and have a lot of energy and enthusiasm. 2D. Oh, someone has written all, Yashashvi. The stranger blacked out when he fell. Blackout means to lose consciousness, to faint. In spite of her old age, she looks hale and hearty. Hale and hearty means good health. B. To declare bankruptcy, insolvency, was a bitter pill to swallow for him. Bitter pill to swallow means something unpleasant that must be accepted or endured. Answer is E. I provided yesterday, I will provide after the session. Who is this Anil? I provide every day, but after the session, not before the session. You have 5 phrasal verbs and try to find out the meaning of each one. Long for. They are longing for someone or longing for something. What is the meaning of long for? Phrasal verb. A4. To want something you miss very much. Long for something. How to get the PDF after the session? You go to the description of the video. Then you see the link. I cannot do that, Raviteja Sharma. I've started a course, 200 grammar rules, an academy, plus you have to take the subscription. That course is all about 200 grammar rules with advanced grammar. Watch the video. Long for Fourth option, and let down, disappoint someone by not doing what is expected of you. Don't let down your parents, don't let down your master, don't let down someone. So answer is third one. Look down on, to think that someone is not as good as you are or not as important as you are. So look down on, look down upon. Lash out, to verbally or physically attack someone or something. Lay down, it goes with rules, regulations, to officially state something like a policy or rules, regulations, conditions, guidelines. So let us go to editorial words. Virtual. So what is the meaning of virtual? No one has gone to the editorial words, editorial vocabulary. 1D, not physically existing. Yes, answer is D, laundering, conceal the origins of money. Overall subscriptions are high price. No, Sudhakar, you can take for 1 month. 1 month is not expensive. Sudhakar, next month I'm launching 5 courses. One is English basics course for any competitive exam, then descriptive English course, 200 grammar rules, and also word power made easy. Take for 1 month. You don't have to pay a lot of money. You have options. You can take for 2 years, you can take for 1 year, you can take for 6 months, you can take for 1 month. What I suggest, you take plus subscription using my referral code Murthy10. Then you get 10% discount. Take only for a month. You can get 5 courses. I hope you got it, Sudhakar. So laundering, conceal the origins of, answer is F. Ostensible, appearing to be one, but actually it is something else. A. Disquiet, feeling of worry or unease. H. Exponential, rapid. Peg at, it takes a profession. Fix a currency at. J. Upsurge, sudden increase. Surge also means the same. Embrace, accept willingly and with a lot of 1,350. That is not a big amount. 1,350 is not, and 10% discount you get on it. Use a referral code, you get 10% discount. Embrace, accept willingly. Eschew means what? Refrain from, an important word. And expedite, speed up. We have got many a time. That's all about this editorial, an important editorial. Do spend some time and try to get more information. Write about this editorial, very useful. Have a nice day, and do remember to subscribe and share. After the session, I'll provide the PDF. Try to access and work on important questions. And subscription, besides the subscription, join the Telegram group.